All right, anyways,
Yeah.
all right, let's get this started here now. All right, here we are, guys. We're starting the Tekken tutorial. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about how to become a Pokemonster.
Yeah, precisely.
Right. Yeah. So, anyways,
What is a poke, Evan?
oh, first off, nice title card
Oh,
here.
hey! What even is?
What is poking? All right, so pokes are just fast, safe moves that you use to open up your opponent. Like some examples of a lot of pokes, a lot of people have 1-2 strings or down forward ones, down fours. Those are all fast, pretty safe moves.
They're relatively safe. There's hardly any actually safe lows, and they can all be low parry. Relatively safe.
Right. Yeah, you're not going to get launched for doing them most of the time.
Stay hot. But this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every move is risky.
Every move comes with a risk, but your pokes tend to have less risk.
Or very specific risk.
Right.
This is Nina Williams.
Hey,
Oh, dang.
Hey, the contraband, thank you for following. So anyways, that's what pokes are.
Yeah, they're used to control your opponent.
Right, so what is poking used for?
Yeah, what is poking used for? Well, like we said, it's used for controlling your opponent and mixing up your vulnerabilities, because although it is nice to hit people with launchers, if all of your launchers have a similar vulnerability, pokes can cover that vulnerability and make your opponents, do what you want, basically.
Yeah. Also, you can using pokes, you can prevent your opponent from using their bigger moves like their launchers.
Yeah, pokes are generally fast.
Like if Dragonoff is trying to down forward to me or something like that, I can just, if I just keep jabbing in.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You can't. Oh, except he used to crush. All right, so if I down forward one hit, then he can't get the down forward two off. Hey, Jokey. Thanks for the follow. Is that a joke name?
I don't know. Possibly.
Alright. Yeah, so your pokes can be used to prevent your opponent from using their bigger moves in the launchers.
Their bigger moves, like this move,
Yeah, that move's pretty slow, but if I'm jabbing away at him, there's no way he's going to get that off. Or like down forwarding him.
Yeah.
No way he's going to get that off. Yeah. You can also use it to keep them from moving around. A lot of pokes have some amount of tracking to them. Like me, is down forward one tracks one way, so I'll just keep doing this, and it tracks to her left, but not really her right. So if they're moving to her left, you can keep that you can use that to keep people from moving that way. Also, her down four tracks really well both ways.
Most characters' generic down fours almost are homing. Yeah. They're really hard to get away.
So you can use them to keep them from moving around.
Different pokes generally have different uses. Like some of Dragonoff's pokes are used to keep your opponent away from you, so he can use his exceptionally long-range pokes and stay away from a character like Nina. So, but these pokes don't necessarily have the greatest tracking. But then he has other pokes like this, and this is an actual homing move that will actually stop your opponent. So different pokes have different uses based on the character's general ideal strategy.
All right, so mess around with your pokes, see what they're good for. You'll get an understanding of how they can be used. But also with your pokes, you're hoping to get a little bit of damage. Every little bit counts, because doing the lows, she only gets 7 points of damage off of her down 4, but those do add up over time.
Yeah, I've lost rounds where my opponent has had less than 7 health hundreds of times. It happens.
So you don't often get a lot of damage from pokes, but there are some pokes that provide bigger damage for it.
Yeah, some characters have very damaging. And some characters have hardly any pokes at all. Just depends on the character. So you really gotta examine your character and find out their poking strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. So another thing that poking is used for is you can condition your opponent to block certain ways. Like for example, with Nina, if I'm doing a bunch of high-end bid stuff, I can get them to try and just stand up, and eventually he'll just block these standing up,
Yeah.
and then I can go for something like a big low, meaning I can do it.
You've never had problems doing this low to me before.
And so you can get them to freeze up and get a bigger low, or you can do one of a multitude of other lows.
Yeah. Or your opponent might do the opposite and respond to your aggression with aggression of their own. In which case you can counter hit them or avoid their attacks and live them.
But like I was going to say something else about that.
About conditioning your opponent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you either condition them to freeze, in which case you can go for your big safe mix-ups, or you condition them to retaliate from a bad situation where you're in control of the situation, so you can easily avoid their retaliation and punish them severely.
Right. So like if I'm doing Nina pokes like this, dragging off my attempt to like jab back. Like jab back. And I can sidestep around and launch.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get your opponents to make stupid decisions.
Basically, you can pester them into reacting or committing to not reacting and just blocking, in which case poke them some more with lows or throws if you got good throws.
Yeah. And lastly, pokes are really useful for closing out a round. Except, for example,
Look how far away you can get your leg with. Like, this is a really annoying poke to deal with.
Alex was saying that oftentimes he's lost rounds where the opponent had less than 7 points of health.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to go for like a big risky low that's seeable. Like,
Yes.
Yeah. To close out that last 7 points, you can just do a down 4 and then get the damage to close out the round, or a down 4-1, something that's fast and safe. And if they block it, then you might have opportunity. Keep pressuring them. Yeah. So, anyways, that's what poking is used for.
Yeah.
Also, if anyone ever has any questions, just don't hesitate to ask. Hey, Baifu Techie, this is us talking about poking. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Baifu Techie, this guy streams a lot of fighting game stuff.
This is me. Enjoy this.
Hey, Barranco Blanco, thanks for the follow. A great name, by the way.
Yeah, very good. That guy came from Northwest Street Fighter, I can tell.
Alright, so anyways, so now that we have covered what poking is, get into how to effectively poke.
Mm-hmm. How do you effectively poke?
That is a great question. Because oftentimes people don't know how to the best way of going around about poking.
New players generally learn their combos